Today, I will be examining the arguments for the legalization of active euthanasia. Active euthanasia is intentionally killing a patient, specifically when the patient requests for this to be done. Advocates highlight the positive aspects of this practice and how it can benefit the terminally ill patient. Imagine that you are laying on a hospital bed, and doctors have just told you that you have less than a month to live. They also tell you that they will do what they can to keep you comfortable, but that the final few weeks of your life could potentially be very painful. You also know that for the remaining weeks of your life, you or your loved ones will have to pay extensive healthcare bills that you might not be able to afford. At this point, you are probably wondering if there are any alternative options. This is where the argument for active euthanasia comes in. Proponents for assisted suicide argue that choosing to die before succumbing to a terminal illness can be much more comfortable and dignifying. Those in favor of assisted suicide claim that competent, terminally ill people should be allowed to decide when to die in order to avoid expensive end-of-life healthcare bills and intense pain, and should be allowed to die with their loved ones around them without government interference. At the end of someone's life, healthcare can become very expensive. Active euthanasia could be a much cheaper solution than other healthcare options, according to its proponents. The drugs for assisted suicide cost around $500, which can be much more appealing than paying for end-of-life healthcare. Choosing to fight for your life can become very costly, especially as you draw nearer to the end. About one-third of the cost in the last year of life come in the final month. Choosing active euthanasia may save the family money if that is what the patient desires. This can alleviate the stress and worry that someone may experience when wondering how the bills are going to get paid. A patient can focus on enjoying their final days rather than worrying about money. Hospice care is also a cheaper solution to terminal illnesses. However, advocates of assisted suicide hold that the patient may be scared that hospice care will still be painful, and that they may feel as if they have lost their dignity at the end of their life. While it is meant to keep the patient comfortable at the end of life, there is no guarantee that the end won't be painful. Pain is one of the biggest factors that advocates would say leads to the decision to use active euthanasia. No one wants to die painfully, and it is human nature to avoid pain whenever possible. Dying from a terminal illness can be long and drawn out, and very painful. With active euthanasia, advocates say that the end doesn't have to be painful. Proponents say that people should be allowed to choose to end their lives quickly and peacefully. People shouldn't have to watch their bodies slowly deteriorate. Not only can this be painful, but it can be degrading and undignified. The quality of life at the end of a terminal illness can be very poor. Proponents say that no one deserves to have such a poor quality of life, especially if they don't want to. If someone would prefer to forego the possible pain and undesirable conditions at the end of their life, advocates of active euthanasia say that they should have the option to do so. Many people are scared of dying alone. Terminally ill people should be able to have their loved ones around them for their death. These patients should be trying to enjoy their final days, not worrying about the possibility of never seeing their sons, daughters, or friends ever again. At any point in time, a person's health can begin to rapidly deteriorate. If loved ones live, say, all the way across the country, they may not be able to get there before the illness overtakes the patient. They may miss the chance to say their final goodbyes, and the dying person may not have the ones they love most around them. Those in favor of legalizing active euthanasia say that planning a date allows loved ones to make arrangements to be there. Having a set date allows for plenty of time for travel and eliminates the possibility of the person suddenly succumbing to their disease. Allowing the patient to choose a date ensures that the day can be how they want it, surrounded by who they love most. The government is arguably the biggest hurdle in the push for the legalization of assisted suicide. Advocates say that people have a right to their bodies and should be able to do what they please. Many people argue that as long as it does not harm others, people should be able to do what they want with their bodies. If a terminally ill person chooses to end their suffering, they should have the right to do so. Proponents hold that the government should not be able to interfere with this decision. They hold that a decision is a personal decision that should be made with the guidance of doctors and the opinions of those close to them. Politicians, who have no involvement or connection to the situation, should not be the ones making the decision for the terminally ill person. Advocates of assisted euthanasia claim that the government should legalize the practice and allow people to do what they please with their bodies. Proponents of active euthanasia claim that it is up to each individual terminally ill person to make the decision of when to end their suffering. In the final months of a person's life, medical bills can potentially skyrocket, and pain and discomfort can become more prevalent. Those in favor of assisted suicide say that the government should not be allowed to prevent people from choosing to end their lives in a calm and peaceful manner with their loved ones around them. Rather than living out the last few weeks of their life in pain, not knowing which day is their last, proponents say that terminally ill patients should be able to choose when to end their life under their own circumstances, not under their disease's circumstances. Those in favor of assisted euthanasia say that people are entitled to a peaceful and painless death according to their wishes, and that no outside factor should inhibit this right.